I'm grateful to be here. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited to see you in, when is it, September 7th, I think, in Salt Lake City.
So it's so funny. We're doing this tour, and I'm thinking like, okay, I would love to bring people on. I know all these smart people, but there aren't many people who can perform in front of a live audience. It's a very different kind of person. Anyway, you were the first. You were literally the first person. I thought, oh man,
it's going to be fun.
Doing it. It's really nice of you.
No, I appreciate the invite. It's going to be fun. It's going to be in Salt Lake City, the Delta Center. You know how many seats that has?
I have no idea.
Tucker?
I'm so overwhelmed by it. I haven't looked.
Yeah. It's big. It's big. Delta Center, September 7th. You can get the tickets at tuckercarlson.com, tuckercarlson.com. So, Tucker, I haven't talked to you in a couple of weeks or a few weeks, and I would love your overall take on the insanity that we have seen from the attempted assassination to today. What are your thoughts? I mean, what the hell is happening?
Actually, it really is like a car crash. Everyone's been in anyone who's been in a car crash or any kind of unexpected traumatic event knows it takes months to sort of reconstruct what happened. That's how I feel about what we've seen in the past 6 weeks, from the debate where it was just obvious 4 minutes in that everything we suspected about Biden was true, that he could not continue, that he couldn't run the country, that he hadn't been running the country, and that he would be taken off the ticket. That was just immediately obvious to me. Then watching the coordinated media response to that, where you realize, well, wait a second, Dana Bash was in on this. All her colleagues at CNN, MSNBC, they had their marching orders, they put them into effect. And then you thought, well, wait, everything is fake. And I think a lot of people had begun to suspect that over the last few years when it became clear, say, the CIA was playing a meaningful role in our domestic elections. No one really thought, I'll speak for myself. I didn't really think that could be happening. And I thought maybe only wackos thought it could happen, but then it turned out to be confirmed. But when that debate happened and the media acting as one, as they always do, basically kicked Joe Biden off the ticket in the first 6 minutes after the debate, you realized, wait a second, there's a whole level of control, of governance that is immune from voters. We have no role in this at all. Voting just plays no role in this. We're not privy to the plan. And my gosh, at the very deepest level, there is a conspiracy, maybe unarticulated, maybe a conspiracy of like-minded temperament or instinct or whatever, but it's definitely coordinated to disempower the rest of us on behalf of the people already in charge. And then everything that happened since then confirmed it. Trump, the Biden administration allows Trump to get shot, whether intentionally or not. It's kind of irrelevant. They allowed it. Having spent, an awful lot of time at events with Secret Service, I know you have as well, over 30 years, that what they allowed to happen that day, they allowed that. So, and then you realize the Secret Service is corrupt. So if you have a country where the Secret Service, the presidential bodyguard, the Praetorian Guard of the president, is corrupt as a political instrument, and it joins the CIA and FBI and the entire DOJ and ATF and, every three-letter agency, they're all working on behalf of a political party or the ruling cabal that controls that political party. I mean, that is just so bewildering that you think, well, what is true? What is this organization? Who runs it? Who's been running the government for the past 4 years?
Well, I have asked that question of everybody I know, and nobody seems to have an answer. If you look at what's happening over in Europe with their illegal problem or their refugees, and how the governments over there are responding to the people, and you see it's exactly the same problems, it's exactly the same laws, the same responses, the same media response, and then you know that Joe Biden is incapable. Who the hell has been the president? Who is running this country?
Well, and what you're seeing around the world is really not around the world. It's just in traditionally Christian countries.
Yes.
It's in the West. Yes. It's in Christendom. It's not happening in Asia. It's not happening in Singapore. It's not happening in Lagos, Nigeria. It's not happening,
Right.
of course, in China or Japan. These are still ethno-states. No one contests their right to be that. But it's happening in the historic homeland of Christianity from Scandinavia, really all the way to Hungary, and Central Europe is kind of the border. They held the line. But everywhere else, Ireland, I mean, what did Ireland do to deserve this? But the same thing is happening everywhere. And you think, well, is this a conspiracy? Is it a manifestation of spiritual warp? That's my conclusion. I have no real evidence, but I don't see another explanation that makes sense. I don't know, but it's all happening at once. It's, as you said, exactly the same thing. It's much bigger than just, the refugee agencies pushing people in because they're liberal and the media supporting them because they're liberal too. This is the end of a civilization. And why? Why would you want to destroy that civilization, which they are doing, and probably to the point where it kind of can't be fixed in any recognizable form? Because demographics really is kind of the core question of a society. Who lives in the country? That's the basic question. And I don't know. I guess this is a very long answer to a short question, but I just would sum it up by saying it's so big, it's so bewildering, it's so distressing that it's kind of shut my brain down. And I'm only now trying to figure out, what do you do? How do you respond to this? What does it mean? I don't want to. Yeah.
I've been saying for the last couple of weeks, as I saw this whole thing unfold and know how close we are to the edge, that this may be the last election, and I don't even know if it'll be free and fair, but it'll be the last election in the country as we know it or have known it. And it's your last call. I mean, if you vote for Harris-Biden, Harris Walz, you're pulling the trigger of socialism and authoritarianism. I mean, it's all there, and they're saying it out in the open. And I'm hearing from 20-somethings that are saying, "Oh, you guys always say that it's going to be, the most important election of your life, and it's not that bad." How bad is it, Tucker?
Well, I think I don't think it's political, for one thing. So I don't think it's even worth thinking in terms of the election or whatever. It's like the changes coming to the United States are in progress in the United States and in Western Europe, again, all the way to the Hungarian border, sort of Austria west, but also New Zealand, also Australia, also Canada, the Anglosphere, the European world. The changes are so big and so profound and permanent that I don't really know anybody who fully understands what's going on, and I spend my entire life trying to find people who do and talk to them. So I don't know, but I think we should all be thinking in much, much bigger terms than we are. I mean, I don't think the 2020 election was free and fair. Of course, it wasn't. You can't have a democracy with censorship by definition. You don't have to even worry about electronic voting machines to know that was not a free and fair election. If you don't have access to the information required to cast an informed vote, then the election is rigged. I mean, just by definition, that's why the First Amendment is first, because it's a prerequisite for democracy. So, and we don't have it now. So, but why? What is this? Why would you want to destroy Christendom, which is what they're doing? And, well, because you hate Christianity is the answer. And so those are the terms that I'm thinking of it in, because I think those are the correct terms. And I've never been particularly religious or faithful. I'm certainly not a model of Christian living. That's for sure. You know what I mean? I'm going to go buy a tin of chewing tobacco this afternoon, and I can't wait. So I'm not a virtuous person, but I try to be an analytical person and reach conclusions on the basis of the evidence that I can see, not the things I hear, but the things I see, because, you can't disrupt your senses with lies. I'm just trying to be honest with myself. And I see a total transformation of the historically Christian world. And I don't know how it shakes out, but I know that the stakes are, just couldn't be higher. So, preventing Kamala Harris and that incredibly creepy, wrestling coach or football coach, or that guy, air quotes, running with her. I mean, that guy is just completely undisguised. I know exactly who that guy is, having been to boarding school in the 80s. That guy's creepy, period.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, the fact that they would even run somebody like that tells you what their agenda is. It's like completely overturning the basis of civilization, which is the relationship between a man and a woman that produces children. Like, that's the basis of all civilization, and they're trying to overturn that.
So you got a lot of heat on the Great Replacement theory when you were at Fox, and a little bit of heat. There's mounting evidence of this with some people, online, that are of a different race. There was one that came out, I think, yesterday, the day before, and this woman, she's like, she was in England, and she said, look, the white population is going down, and with all the, newcomers, we're winning. That's replacement theory at its worst. However, there is a great replacement that is going on all throughout the Western world, and that is the Christianity replacement with Islam. If you see what is happening in every country in the Middle East, and Dearborn, which nobody pays attention to here, and Minnesota, you see that there is a replacement of our culture and our faith. And it's a little terrifying when you see the numbers, just the sheer numbers in Europe. Europe is over.
Well, it's absolutely over. And the thing I find hilarious, the reason I laughed, is to call something that's demonstrably true, like gravity, a theory, is itself like deceptive. So it's not a theory, it's a math question. So and by the way, it's not racial, it's not even religious, in my opinion. It's just a math question. You have the people who lived in the United States in, say, the year 2000, before everything changed with 9/11. And those people and their descendants, at what rate are they reproducing? And then, below replacement rate. But the country is growing really fast because new people are being imported. So by definition, again, as a math equation, the people who lived here in 2000, which was not that long ago, are being replaced by immigrants. And it's not just whites, it's native-born blacks, actually. Yeah. So you always hear the country's getting less white. Well, black people, African Americans, as we call them, have lived in this country longer than, Italians or Irish. They hundreds of years their families have been here. They're Native American. They're native-born Americans. And they're being replaced too. And their political power is evaporating, which no one ever says, but it's true. And, they don't vote the same way I do by and large, but I think that people whose families have been here for hundreds of years, have some claim on the country, actually. I think that. Call me crazy. And so they are being replaced flat out. And anyone who says they're not being replaced or says it's like racist or bigoted or anti-Semitic to say that's like, what? It has nothing to do with any of that. It's just a fact. And why are you doing this to us? Actually, nobody likes it. But why? Why is this happening? And so, they huff and puff or whatever, but they've also written a bunch of books on how great it is. I mean, if you're sending a vasectomy machine to the DNC,
that's crazy.
What is that about? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's clearly spiritual. And by the way, I would say I don't think it's Islam is the religion that's replacing us. It's the LGBTQ religion, the global religion of childlessness.
Well, I will tell you that I agree with that, but right now they're playing footsie with the Islamicist, and in the end, the Islamicist will eat the LGBTQ community. He'll just eat it.
100%, and I'm rooting for them.
Oh my gosh!
I am. I mean, I'm hardly Muslim, but I can tell you this, having spent a lot of time in the Middle East in the last few years, especially the Gulf, especially the Emirates, is much more tolerant and welcoming of Christianity than New York City is, and that Frankfurt, Germany is, than London is. I mean, you can go sit at a dinner party in Abu Dhabi and talk about how much you love Jesus, and everybody applauds. Try that in London. Try that in New York City. You can't. People hate you for that. So, look, I don't know exactly what that means. I don't really know what anything means, but I've experienced that, and I think the real threat to, any religion that tells you it's bad to have children or children don't matter or human life doesn't matter
yes,
is evil, is demonic.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's the LGBTQ religion, or this weird global climate religion. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah,
a
I
religion,
do. I do.
and it's scary.
I do. Yeah, you will bow down to it as well. Tucker, thank you. We'll see you on the 7th in Salt Lake City at the Delta Center. It's going to be, I have a feeling it will be spiraling out of control at some point. On September 7th, Salt Lake City, Delta Center. Join Tucker Carlson and I live on the 7th. You can get your tickets now at tuckercarlson.com. That's tuckercarlson.com. Tucker, thanks, man. Talk to you.
You're the best, Glenn. Thank you.